Good afternoon, one. Good afternoon, all. Welcome one more time to your afternoon drive live with Maponga J, broadcasting from Johannesburg, South Africa. Here we are on your afternoon channel where we are discussing African problems, African challenges, African medicine, African science, politics, and everything else between. We as African people have started talking about our own problems, finding our own solutions to our own problems. And I want to welcome you all to this afternoon drive where we are having conversations around issues of African development at large. And if we look very carefully in the days in which we are living in, maybe for this afternoon I want just to pick up some few moments and share with a few of us, a lot of us rather, my understanding of this whole issue that is confusing and driving the African continent into madness. The whole issue of prophets, for example, the issue of prophets. There's religious leaders who claim that they are prophet so and so, they are apostle so and so. They give themselves these religious names, but they don't live and behave and function within the greater space of their own calling. What do I mean by that? For example, a simple one for us for today, I want us to discuss the word prophet or the word seer. Seer or a prophet in the Bible, a seer. Samuel, for example, was a seer. I remember when Saul had lost his donkeys and he came to Samuel. The passage, the Bible actually says he came to a seer, he came to a prophet. And the prophet was able to say, hey, you lost your donkeys. Your donkeys are at such and such a place. You can go and find them there. Take note. Then the prophetic office, therefore, does not have only to do with people being mesmerized by funny mishaps, but actually you must actually have access into information, tap into supernatural information so that you can help your own people that are around you. Therefore, prophecy has to do with seeing what is going to happen. You cannot say you are a prophet and you are seeing what has happened. Seeing what has happened, even the devil was there. So you don't prophesy by telling the past. You prophesy by telling the future. It's one element I want us to log into very carefully. Why am I saying that? Because in the past few days we've been able to see disasters in the air, disasters on the land. We saw the killings that happened in New Zealand. We saw the murders that have still happening in Nigeria. We saw the aeroplane that fell in Kenya. We then saw the hurricane that has claimed many lives from Malawi to Zimbabwe to Mozambique. Now we have all these prophets in all their various uniforms, with all their collars, and all their titles, prophet so and so, and prophetesses so and so. And now, can you tell me something for free? If all these prophets are really true prophets, how come none of them ever picked up the catastrophes that were happening on the face of the earth? Who told us about Idai, the hurricane? Who spoke about the aeroplane falling in Kenya, in Ethiopia? Who spoke about the massacre in New Zealand? And these prophets seem to be only prophetic as long as it benefits them. It becomes local prophecies, where you become a prophet because you want to get something from somebody. So when your name is Bongani Mjuli, your mother is Jackson, your father is Jackson, you come from where from such a place, but originally you are a Swazi, you are what, when now Bakam Mjuli, Bakam what. But are you telling me that by relating my history, you are becoming prophetic? How do you prophesy the past? You don't prophesy the past. The past is history, and no one needs prophecy to access history. History is present. You can ask from responsible people. So when you begin to talk about prophets, the people who call themselves prophets in our times, we hope that they can look ahead of us, can look ahead and tell us what's going to happen to Cyril Ramaphosa on the election. What's going to happen to America and Zimbabwe relationships, for example? What's going to happen to certain challenges that the whole world, the globe is facing? What's going to happen the next 100 years from now on the face of the earth, with the melting of the ice in Antarctica, the rising up of the sea levels and stuff like that? What sort of weathers are we going to anticipate in the next few years, and etc.? Then you legitimize your prophecy because you're able to sneak, to have a preview into the future days that are lying ahead. I think this is what distinguishes the biblical prophets from the rest of the prophets that we find in our days. The biblical prophets like Isaiah, like Ezekiel, like Daniel, like John the Revelator would be sitting around and say, this kingdom is coming. After this kingdom, another kingdom will come. After that kingdom, another kingdom will come. After that kingdom, another one will come. Another one will come. Another one will come. And then this and this shall happen. People shall be at war. There shall be famines. There shall be hunger. There shall be pestilences. Political leaders shall be unstable. There shall be diseases, and etc. Things that when you look around today and you take out your newspaper and see how many wars are being fought, how many diseases are on outbreak, how many leaders of the world are fighting with each other, how much iron is trying to hold itself to clay, and how all these relationships are not working. And then you look at your prophetic template, in this case which becomes the biblical text, and then you find you can actually follow some of these events, like from the kingdom of Babylon, the kingdom of Medo-Persia, to the kingdom of Greece, to the kingdom of the Romans, then the splitting out of the 10 kingdoms of Rome into the Visigoths, the Ostrogoths, the Herulis, the Burgundians, the Frankish, the Sueves, the English, the Anglo-Saxons, and all making up the European kingdoms as we have them, how the Catholic Church destroyed other kingdoms. And these things are told in 605 BC there. And if you look at them being fulfilled in 303, in 168, in 376 AD, post into our time of the 19th century, then there is some amount of legitimacy to this quality of prophetic information. Even if I might have my own problems with the biblical text, but when it comes to some of these critical issues which have to do with some prophetic messages forecast into the future, there is striking similarity, striking accuracy to the fulfillment of these prophecies. Then you can say there is a prophet, because a prophet is able not only to tell the future, but he is in touch with God, he's in touch with Yahweh, and downloads information and warns the people of what will soon come to pass and what will take place in the future. Now, these prophets that we sit around in our churches, who can tell? Nothing. Who can't even see a hurricane coming? Who can't see? They can only prophesy when it is time to receive offerings. These can't be prophets. Let's find another name for them. But when you use a biblical text to find a title for yourself, such as prophet, I think let's be faithful enough to go back to the text and find what is the biblical interpretation of what a prophet is like. When we understand that, then we can begin to give those titles to each other. But for today, I just thought I would share a bit of that with you. That be careful when you walk up to men of God who claim to be prophetic, who claim to have visions and sights into the future, but they don't see nothing at all. They just want the name. So think about it. On your afternoon channel, here we are challenging all norms of religion, all norms of culture and traditions, asking questions and having Africans begin to wake up from our slumber. And we need to start learning the correct ways of interpreting our own reality. The prophetic office, as we have it right now in the Christian church, is a highly overrated ministry. People are not even functioning according to that. If you are a prophet, you have vision, you have sight into the files of God, files of eternity, files of the forthcoming events. When God entrusts you, Yahweh entrusts you with that information, then you become the mouthpiece of the future, telling, warning, advising people of what will come to pass in the future. Why? Because you are preparing them to meet that future. The prophetic office, therefore, is a technical office where the Lord, where God, where Yah, where the Creator calls one or two few people into his space gives them information, and then prepares people ahead of time. And that's the definition of a correct and the true prophetic office. Anybody else who calls himself a prophet must fit into this criteria, whether it is Likau, or whether it is Bushiri, or whether it is Makandiwa, or it is Angel. I don't care, TB Joshua. Anybody who claims to be a prophet must be able to look into the future and advise, warn, tell people of the events that are coming. And a prophet can only be tested by the truthfulness of his word. Whatever he says, it must come to pass. This is where I also have a problem with some of the prophets and some of the preachers who have come to the churches that I've come to know, who prophesied and spoke and said that Jesus was going to come in 1844, and he never came. Those are not true prophets. Those are false prophets. Those are false prophets. True prophets, what you say must come to pass. And what you say must be a window into the future. You become the mouthpiece of God to connect the people to their own creator, not connecting them to yourselves. With those few words, I wish you all a wonderful afternoon. Here with your afternoon driver, Maponga J. And welcome one, welcome all. We'll continuously be talking. And if there are other issues that you'd want the farmer to have a look at, please feel free to type in your options and your discussions at the bottom of the page there. Give us your feedback and send us some critique as to what other sort of information do you want us to be discussing here on your afternoon channel. Until we meet again next time, have a wonderful afternoon.